What do you play when someone says, play something? What if you could sit down at the piano and improvise something beautiful? No plan, no sheet music, just pure music in the moment. So in this video, I'm going to show you 3 different tricks I use all the time, which make it super easy to create a beautiful flowing solo piano piece on the spot. Perfect for those moments when someone says, play something. Let's dive in. Right, before we start, let me give you a little demonstration of what this sounds like. So what I'm doing here is I haven't learned a piece, okay? It's not like I've memorized exactly what I'm playing. I'm improvising using different creative approaches. These are exactly the sorts of things you can use to just make your playing sound fresh, so it sounds different every single time you play. Right, let me break down exactly what was going on there. So this whole trick hinges around this shape here, and for me, that is just such a beautiful voicing. You can see we've got this half step in the middle here between the B and the C. Half step's another name for semitone. And any voicing that has that interval in it, that semitone, that half step, oh, it's just so beautiful. It gives it a richness because there's that kind of clash in there, but it still just sounds so beautiful. So it's like a voicing for C major 7, I guess. But we haven't got the third in there. Do you see that? We haven't got the E. I'm going to come up with a repetitive pattern in my right hand that I can just play over and over again, and I can improvise with and kind of play about with just using that shape. Let me have a go at doing that now. I'm going to come up with something like this. Let's give it a go. Something like that. I mean, I'm just playing about with it. I'm really locking into that kind of 16th note. I'm just playing about with those notes. Let's give it another go. You know, it's different every single time, and that's what you want with this approach, right? That's the whole purpose of doing this. Now, the next stage is to add in your left hand. And what you'll find is that when you use different root notes in your left hand, it changes the sound of that right hand pattern. Let me just give you an example of what this sounds like. At the moment, I'm just choosing notes from the C major scale, and I'm not playing them in like a kind of scalic way where I'm just going up or down. I'm picking notes at random. Let's have another go. You know, that kind of idea. I'm just playing about. I've got that shape, moving the left hand part. If you want to take this further, what you can do is just occasionally experiment with notes outside of the key. So I might try some things out here. Let me give it one more go. I might incorporate You know, it's all about experimenting and seeing what you can come up with. That's the heart of what we're doing here. You know, some of the things you can actually take up higher on the piano. You know, it gives it a totally different effect. I love doing this kind of thing, just trying it out in different parts of the piano. Just get experimenting with it. That's where you're really going to have these breakthroughs. Now, before we jump into trick number 2, I want you to be able to get all of this into your playing. So the next time you are at a party or you're out or something like that and there's a piano and someone does say play something, you've got something really beautiful under your fingers just to improvise on the fly. It's so uplifting, it's invigorating and confidence building. So to help you do that, I've put together a free step-by-step lesson book. It's got every single thing I'm covering today written out for you. And there are also some little tips and tricks in there that I haven't managed to include in this video that will just allow you to put your own creative spin on it. So go ahead and download that. The link is in the video description, or you could also scan this QR code up here. Okay, so often on the piano, we're told chords in the left hand, melody in the right hand. And what we're doing here is completely switching that approach. We're now going to have chords in the right hand and we're going to improvise a melody in our left hand. So let me take you through the approach here. I'm going to have one shape in my right hand, a little bit similar to the shape we looked at earlier, except we've changed one note. We've actually moved from there to there. And this is a beautiful sus2 shape. I love sus2 chords. If you watch the channel a lot, you know I use these shapes all the time. C sus2, and all we're going to do is double this top note. So we've got two Gs and then a C and a D in the middle. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to rock, okay? I'm going to rock my right hand to create a kind of rhythmic pattern. See that? I mean, you can occasionally do things like this. You know, you can occasionally arpeggiate it, but the main thing we're going to play is that rocking pattern there. And then in our left hand, we're just going to improvise a melody. Let me just have a listen to what it sounds like. You can see that all I'm doing is improvising a melody. You might think that is a lot to process in the moment. Well, if I was going to do this and I was doing this for the first time, I'd first of all just practice coming up with a melody in your left hand. You might find this quite hard at first because we very rarely play melodies in the left hand, okay? Our left hand's having to be quite dexterous here, okay? Check it out. Let me just have a little improvise, see what comes out. You might be thinking, we're in the key of C, but you're using B flats. That's because here I'm using a slightly different scale. It's called the Mixolydian mode. You don't need to worry too much about what that is, but essentially it's the major scale with a flattened seventh, okay? And it just gives a slightly different feel away from that major key center, okay? We're so used to hearing major key centers as that kind of sound. With that B natural, in C major, the seventh, the natural seventh. But here, we're just changing things up a bit. You know, it's that kind of sound with that B flat. So I'm just going to improvise using that Mixolydian mode in my left hand. Let's just see what happens again. Let's give it one more go. Kind of thing, okay? Don't do everything stepwise. See if you can make some jumps in the melody as well, going up and down. Really try and vary it. If I now put my hands together, listen to what it sounds like. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? And it actually works even better further up the piano. Check this out. If I play it up higher. It gives it a real expressive, almost folk music-like vibe when it's played up there. Really, really beautiful. I've also written some extra little ways you can take that approach to kind of the next level and also simplify it if you're struggling with some hand independence there, because it's quite tricky, some of those parts. That's all written out for you in that PDF lesson book, which is linked below. Okay, let's check out trick number 3. Okay, this is a slightly different one. Again, what we're doing is we're taking that same approach of having a repeated pattern in our right hand. In this case, this is the pattern we're using. So we're still using that sus2 shape with that doubled note at the top, but we're using a different rhythm, a different pattern. Check it out. Let me just slow it down a little bit. Here it is. So you got some offbeat notes in there as well, a little bit syncopation. And we're also using that fifth shape. I love playing about with fifths. The thing about a fifth is it's a really open sound. So kind of pure. And when you add that in a phrase, creates this really calm, kind of tranquil sound over the top of whatever you're doing in your left hand. And in our left hand as well, we're also going to be playing fifths. So we've got that repeated pattern in our right hand, and then in our left hand, we're just going to play about with some open fifth shapes. Check it out, and then I'll break down exactly what's going on. All I'm doing is I'm moving those fifth shapes about, so I'm just finding sounds that kind of work with this shape in my right hand. I'm experimenting. These kind of ones all work well. Then occasionally you will stumble across one that doesn't work so well. So no from me on that one. Lots of kind of clashy notes. You got like a tritone in there, and you got like that minor night. Let's just leave that one. Okay, you'll occasionally find these ones, but most of them will work. Try things out, see what you come up with. It's all about adopting that improviser's mindset. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Experiment, give it a go. Now, the great thing about all these tricks is that you can improvise a really long piece of music because you're using an approach rather than something you've memorized, if that makes sense. You can kind of string them all together, try things out, and create a long piece of music using these ideas. Again, they're all written out for you in that free PDF lesson book down below. So do click the link in the description, download it. You're going to find it really, really useful. If you're still watching this video, that tells me that you're really interested in being able to improvise on the piano. You want to develop those skills. So I have just the thing for you. Up here, I've put together a video where I take you through an 8-step framework of how to improvise with chords. It's really clear, and it will just unlock so much for you under your fingers on the piano. You're going to find it really useful. Go ahead and give that video a click. I'll see you over there.